And I am super excited to welcome Lisa Cini to the stage. She's been on our stage before, and she's got lots to talk about. But when I reached out to her to see if she would consider joining us again, she said, "Oh, I gotta share with your audience this project that I'm working on, which is a first of its kind senior living uh, technology showcase home that I didn't realize until this morning you can actually go and stay there. So I'm 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 psyched not to know much about this, Lisa, because I'm going to be just as surprised as my audience when you share some of the things that you're up to. But before we dive into that, let's get to know you a little bit better. Tell us a little bit about your background and what led you down this interesting career path.
So, sure. First of all, thank you so much for having me. I love your audience. I love your show and all the services that you provide. It is so needed. Um, I've been doing senior living design for over 30 years. I was one of those folks that moved from the hospital into senior living and worked for a national provider. We were a public company, resort style homes. And then we were sold about 28 years ago, and the CEO and chairman asked me to start my own company. And so I did. I didn't think that that was something that I desired, but I really absolutely love it. And I love that I have awesome male mentors, which is fantastic. So we now work globally with folks around the world to provide senior living design, whether that's independent living, assisted living, aging in place, or dementia care, which I absolutely love, or skilled nursing. So that's what my company, Mosaic Design Studio, does. But I'm Italian. And at one point, my grandmother was living with my parents, and she was 90, and she was having a good time. And I'm like, she's not going to die. So how do we do this? Because my parents were getting to the age where it was too much for them in their house. So we moved them all in together. And so we had four generations in one house. My grandmother, 92, with Alzheimer's, and we did a social experiment for about 4.5 years. And that's how I wrote my second book, which is Hive, which kind of speaks to your speaker tomorrow, which is basically how do you do it? Tips, tricks, what we failed at, design things, that kind of stuff. But one of the things that was really interesting was I couldn't tour people through the house. And I got a lot of asks, but that would have been very upsetting for her. So what I did was I wrote the book, and that was very helpful. But when she passed, I wrote the book Boom, and this is the second edition, and merged Hive into it, gave all the technology. And then I felt called to buy this historic mansion and turn it into the first ever Airbnb aging in place showcase. So you can come and tour, you can try out the technology, you can spend the night, you can have a wedding, you can do whatever you want. But it's the first one ever that I know of. I ended up asking my collaborator, vendor friends, and some of my design competition to come in and join me on this because it's way bigger than Mosaic or Lisa Cini.
I love it, man. This is so needed and so cool. And I will say that most sort of design showcase homes are they're temporary exhibitions before somebody's moving in. And I've always felt like something like this is truly needed because people need to see something that's functioning, and also, as I've had a glimpse at a few of your photos, see that how beautiful design can be and still be functional. So
Yeah, and I think the dialogue that we've had for years was that stairs were horrible. So the first thing that you need to do is downsize and get into a ranch.
mhm.
Um, but yet statistics show that I think over 80% of the falls happen in the bathroom. And usually if you take stairs outside out, like an icy stair or rainy or those kind of conditions, it's very rare for someone to fall up and down stairs. It does happen, but it's typically not the issue. And so what I wanted to do was take a historic home because everybody thinks they have to move. right? They have to be uprooted from their neighbors and the place they grew up with. And the things that make any kind of cognitive decline easier, the routines of life, knowing the butcher and knowing the street, knowing who the mailman is, and those safety items that make you feel comfortable, like, you don't have to worry who's coming to the door because that's Bill and he always delivers the mail. Those types of things. And we're uprooting folks and putting them into neighborhoods that might be a 55 and older or a ranch or something like that. And that causes a lot of issues. Not only that, but it used to be, AARP just came out with a new study. However, I think after COVID, they're going to have to redo it. Previous to the new AARP study, 90% of seniors did not want to go into senior living. And my family was like that. And I do these beautiful, and my team does these beautiful award-winning resort style homes. So if 90% of people in America don't want to go into senior living, and then of the 10% that do, at least in my family, we can't afford it. It's like on average around $4,000 out of pocket per month to $20,000 out of pocket per month after tax money. My family couldn't do it. So what do we do about the one, there's the 1% that can't afford it and wants to do it. What do you do about the 99? And so the house was really speaking to the 99. And the other thing, I thought, if I'm really walking the walk and talking the talk on senior living, I can't just be, helping the Richie Riches or, people that have already drank the Kool-Aid and want to do it. And I love senior living. Please let me say that. But how do we help the 99%? And then for those folks that want to do senior living, how do you go and know what you should ask for and demand? Because
in that community. Yeah.
Right. Like, because quite often you can get better tech in a home than you can in a senior living. And so how do you do this for boomers where they can educate themselves and demand it? And, and then the third thing is really, I'm Midwestern, try before you buy. So I'm never going to convince somebody to use a bidet toilet seat until they use it.
Yeah.
I'm never going to, a $17,000 tub to help you get in and out is not something you can try out any other place.
Mm-hmm.
So this really allows you to passively educate yourself and have a wonderful environment and feel more educated. And the hope is to move people from fear to freedom as they age.
I love it. All right. Well, let's. I've got your website as well as the photos, but if you want to take a crack at giving us a tour,
Sure.
and we've dropped in Lisa's links to her website, her book. Let me make sure that I drop in the website to this home, and it looks like Ravi is one of your fans there because she dropped in your Best Living Tech website, which is what you talked about the last time you were on with us.
Right. And we're going to be updating Best Living Tech to put a lot of the products that are in the home in Best Living Tech, which we really look at it more of a research site for you, helping you to narrow down the field as to what tech, kind of small stuff that can help you to age better.
Okay.
And we do have some of that stuff, I still have samples of that and all that kind of thing. But this is a little bit bigger. So I don't know if you can see my screen.
It looks beautiful. Yeah. And I've got it. And to the audience, just a reminder, if you have any questions, just type them in down at the bottom there in that Q&A, that button, or you can raise your hand. I'll try to keep tabs on that as well.
Sure. And I love to be interrupted. Again, I told you I was Italian, so it's kind of part of my nature. So I have to work really hard not to interrupt people or, overplay. So please interrupt any question that you have. I'd much rather have you interact with us than kind of go off feeling like you didn't get what you wanted to get out of this.
Yep. Well, hey, Lisa, I'm gonna interrupt you right before we even start because as I look at this home, and again, I've been conditioned to think that stairs are bad, and I see a ton of stairs to get into the front door. Is there another way to get into this beautiful home?
There is. So let me let me just flip through these real quick and I'll get to the back end. Okay. So this is the back of the house. We
Wow.
do have some small entries with stairs here and here and here, but then around this back end here by the bocce court, which I'm trying to see if, you know what, let me see if I can just quickly get you there. I built a ramp, and an interesting story of that, I'm not seeing the photo. Yeah, I'm not seeing the photo. We'll just go back to this.
Yeah,
Um,
we can. Yeah, no, but
sure.
there's an accessible.
Yeah, there's an accessible that I did off of the servery, and it, an interesting story is that, you know, it's accessible, but it's not like gurney accessible in my mind as a designer. So not yeah, gurney.
Yeah, I got a great last name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow. So in working in this, my project superintendent is a little bit overweight, my age, and we're getting to the end. And I was upstairs on the second floor. Matter of fact, I'll kind of go to the, maybe go to one of the photos. And I said, "Hey, Danny, you doing okay?" And he kind of, so I was up here. He kind of coughed. He was downstairs, and within seconds, I was down there, and it just didn't feel right. And he collapsed on me.
Hmm.
And he then had a seizure, and he had a heart attack and died. And we called 911. We started chest compressions. They were like Baywatch. I mean, they were like a SWAT team that came in. It was unbelievable. Put a machine on him, brought him back to life. And then I said, "You can go out the front door," because the door's open completely, you know, wide. And they said, "No, you know, it was around this backside." They said, "We think we'll take him around the backside down the ramp." And I said, "Oh, I'm just not sure if the gurney will get through," because it was a tight corner. And wouldn't you know it, it worked.
Oh, great.
And so you know, I hate that that happened. I'm so glad. And he's with us today. And he's like, "This house saved my life. I was getting ready to go in my truck and drive, and I would have died."
Hmm.
So one of those things that I didn't realize how quick you could do a turn with those, but the ramp is right outside of here. So right outside the dining room, took him down, and you know, it saved his life.
Wow. No, that's great. And I think for most of us, an accessible entry, especially if we're retrofitting our home, it may be in the garage. It may be somewhere that is might appear to be unusual. It doesn't have to be the front door. The important thing is that somebody with accessibility issues can get in and out.
That's 100% it. And the whole house, you know, I wanted to keep the stairs. We talked about this before, that stairs are, you know, very rarely do people fall on them. They do, but 80% of falls actually happen in the bathroom. But one of the things that a stair does for you is it moves your knees, and there's almost no exercise that does that. It moves that lymph. And that lymph, we know, is what clears the plaques in the brain and increases the circulation and helps with cognition. It also helps with arthritis. So it's a real positive thing to do stairs, even if, you know, you're just doing 5 stairs and then you come back down, and you do 5 stairs and you come back down. So, you know, always make sure you're safe. Always make sure you have the proper footwear on, you know, and that your slippers are dangerous, you know, a lot of times, because your feet will roll. Make sure that you're really supported in your house. But that's a wonderful thing. And I don't know how you want to do this. If you want me to just
I,
kind of
I,
go
I
through.
just love it if you just let's just kind of showcase your home and
Sure.
some of the features that you think that folks would be interested in.
Okay, so one of the things about the house is it had great bones. And I wanted to make sure that everybody could see how you could do tech with maybe an older home, so you didn't feel like you had to move out. So this dining room was here, absolutely gorgeous, solid mahogany, pocket doors, which we don't do pocket doors. These are like 4-foot wide pocket doors. So just by the very nature of that makes it accessible. You don't have door swings and too small. One of the things that we put into this dining room is a flooring called Flotex. It's 1,000,000 fibers per inch, and it's very, very low pile height. It's not a carpet and it's not a hard surface, but it can be cleaned like a hard surface. The reason why we put it into the dining room is so many folks have trouble hearing. And if you're not comfortable hearing, a dinner can actually be more agitating. So wanting folks to connect, we were able to put in this wonderful carpet. They have tons of traditional patterns. I just wanted to do a kind of contemporary Philip Stark. And I took my Henredon chairs and reupholstered them, painted them this kind of lime green, which my mom about had a heart attack, but we did it anyways. So that's what the dining room has. We also have smart lighting in there. This is another view. And then these are also pocket doors, huge, off to the music room. So completely accessible, and a bench over in the corner. We put in a full spa, and I happen to name it Chutzpah because I think, you know, having an attitude that's like, no, you're not going to make me sit on the front porch and just die. You know, I'm going to be actively engaged in my best aging experience that I can, because look, we've got all the wisdom at this point. Now we just need to support our bodies, because we spent a lot of time, at least I did, abusing my body up until this point. I've got to recover it, right? And I've got to make sure that my mind. So a couple things about this. This is the spa. What you're going to notice here is this is from Sky Factory. There is a fake skylight in the basement. We have two of these.
Oh, this is in the basement?
Yes. And what they do is they take an image of the sky from your geographic location. And then you can put it in and use this light. And then what we did was, up to about a knee, there's water, and there's hot on one side and cold on the other side. And this was developed, I think, around 1870 by a Bavarian priest named Sebastian Kniep. And he felt, and back then it was walking in creeks and then going into hot water, but he felt he could cure tuberculosis with this. And now we know that by walking in hot water, then walking in cold water, walking in hot water, walking in cold water, it stimulates our autoimmune system and really helps to keep us healthy. It helps with blood pressure, and it helps with what do I want to say? Oh, arthritis. That's what I want to say. So I've experienced this in Japan, in Italy, in Germany, and I'm like, I've got to have one of these. And then outside of it, what we did was put Ecor's flooring, which is a rubberized flooring, but it's like an outdoor grass. So it can get wet. It still helps with the feel. So this is just one of the spaces. Oh, that's the outdoor. I'm going to go to some of the other spaces. Okay, this is the kitchen. Now in the kitchen, it looks pretty normal. I did open the ceiling way up in the top because I loved how the knob and tube electric was. And I exposed that, and I thought about over 100 years ago, guys were, you know, without power tools, making this happen. Is absolutely gorgeous. We did some chalkboard art, but some unique features about this is if you look at those upper cabinets in the area, and if you go to my website, infinite-living.org, you'll actually see video, okay? And you can actually walk through the home just like a tour of homes if you were buying a house, and you can see the before and the after. So those cabinets are from Pressolit. The cabinets are custom, but the mechanism is from Pressolit. Those cabinets will come all the way down to the countertop. So they will meet you where you're at, which I love being short. So whether you're a child, whether you're, you know, differently abled, whether you're in a wheelchair or you have some shoulder issues or you're short, having the cabinets come down to you is so safe, and it makes so much sense. Like
now, just out of curiosity, okay, so I see the cabinet. So how far down does it come to the countertop there?
To the countertop, and it's actually got a safety mechanism in it right up underneath it, that if you, I don't know if I can, I can zoom in. Look at that. Oh, no, it did something weird.
Yeah, no, that's good.
There's a safety mechanism so that if it hits something on the sink or your hand, it automatically stops and goes back up.
Mm-hmm.
So it can come down to wheelchair height. And so a unique thing about that is I can have canned goods up there.
Yeah, you can actually use the top shelf. Yeah, which is, none of us use that. And
So
I also see that most of your countertop space you could pull up a chair or roll in to use.
100%. So that's a great thing that you noticed. I actually did these little container store drawers so that I could move them completely out if somebody needed to get up underneath there. And then to the left-hand side, right below the knives, so you see the knives underneath the
Hmm.
hot rack, that countertop is completely height adjustable.
Yeah, I can see the hydraulic on it, and I'm assuming maybe that little corded thing is that
That's a remote control. So
okay.
I could have put a button on the cabinets and on that, but I decided to do a remote control that would control everything. So make it easier for people when they come. One of the other things that I want to show you, and that's why I press the lid on also, is that you see there's a little water spout on that countertop that's height adjustable.
Hmm.
That's by Brondell. That eliminates not only like your contaminants and your chlorine and that kind of stuff, but also pesticides and hormones. We don't realize how much we're getting in our water. Part of the reason is I think that's a really great thing is, when you're taking a bunch of medications, you don't want to have anything conflict with them potentially. And we really don't know what we're getting in our water. So it's fantastic water, but also to show you that it could be mounted on a height adjustable. You can do that countertop with a sink in it, a full kitchen sink. And then if you move to the further to the left, right above the Samsung Smart Stove, I have a pot filler.
Yeah, I see that. Okay.
You have arthritis and you're up here and you're
Hmm.
trying to bring it from the sink all the way over. That's kind of hard and heavy.
Yep. Now, tell us a little bit about a smart stove. Like what aspect? Yeah, what defines a smart stove?
Sure. So the smart stove is connected to your phone. Um, and it's great for a couple things. So one, if I leave the house and I can't remember whether I left the stove on or not, I can turn it off, which is peace of mind. I mean, I don't know
Mhm.
about you, but I get so my mind goes a bunch of places, like, and I'm heavily distracted. That's the best way to say it. Like, I don't know whether it's overbooked or heavily distracted, but I'm doing one thing and then I'm going to another place and then I'm doing another thing. So let's say I'm getting to the grocery store or I'm going on vacation. I can't remember if I left it on. I can turn it off. I can check it. The other thing is I can start it. Maybe I put food in there and I can start it with my phone. I can see. So those types of features are really nice from a safety perspective. I also have the Samsung smart refrigerator, which is off to the left-hand side. And the nice thing about that is one, you can, there's some tech in there that's kind of cool. Like you can watch movies on it. You can have your calendar. You can draw things on that front. But you can also take a picture of the inside. And again, it's connected to your phone. And say I'm at the grocery store and I can't remember if I ran out of eggs. I can just click on it and see that, oh, no, I have a full dozen in there. And that saves me a trip or calling my husband and having him mad at me. So there's that. And then that island in the front, in the middle, is on casters that are lockable. It has electric up at the top on the side so that you don't have to bend down to plug things in if you want to use it. And then we also have a Reva shelf for my KitchenAid mixer. So it carries all the weight to bring the KitchenAid mixer up high, which is wonderful. And then we have Cambria countertops, which are a quartz countertop that, I don't know about you, but like I'm getting scared to death that I'm gonna like stain something with turmeric. All these things that I'm taking now to help with my arthritis and help with my mind, I'm worried it's gonna stain. And quartz is one of the best things that you can do from a countertop perspective. It's antimicrobial, antibacterial, and it's one of the tightest, densest, so it won't stain. So that's the kitchen, which is pretty cool. And then we also have, you can't really see it, but we have a hydroponic garden over here
Hmm.
that for all of our herbs and some tomatoes and things like that.
Okay. Well, before you go to another room, or yeah, let me just run through some of the comments and questions that we've got here, and then we'll keep on going. Um, Cheryl said I missed a picture of the ramp. We'll get a picture of that, and I'll make sure to put it up on the recording link. And then Gene, my we've got somebody. He likes to refer to himself as Gene Pool. He has lots of great questions. But Gene, I forgot what your real name is, but that's okay. Stairs to me are definitely a no-no, at least without supportive handrails.
Mhm.
And you know, I think a few of these comments relate to this. Just remember, folks, the cool thing about this house is it's a showcase home. So, you know, Lisa and her team, they've thrown everything and quite literally the kitchen sink
Right.
into this. Don't expect anybody to say, hey, I want to move in tomorrow, but there might be just one thing that you say, wow, that's pretty cool. I'd like that. There might be more than one thing, but just, you know, don't get too critical on the design or the accessibility. What she's doing here is sort of showcasing a lot of tech and different things. A ramp with railings would make it ADA compliant. Let's see, Barbara. Oh, this is when you're referring to the spa, hot then cold. Never heard about this. That Sandra says the floor is too busy may cause dizziness in some people. Again, that's everybody's personal
Right.
preference, but she's sort of showing a bunch of different things here. Um, and then, oh, Barbara says, this is a good point, actually. Filling the pot is easy, but then you still need to empty it.
That's exactly right. So then you can have a drain sink right next to it to dump that in.
Oh, wow.
And I got that from Rosemary Rosati, who has one of the,
We had her on.
okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. She's also in Columbus, Ohio. Her and I are dear friends. Um, so part of this is to show you all different types of things and also A/B test. So in my experience with senior living, we are very cognizant, especially if somebody's on medications, on floors that are too busy. What we find though is it's not as big. It depends on if it moves on you with your eyes. So very cognizant of that. This pattern does not move on you with eyes. There are patterns that do move on you with your eyes. And that can also be a problem with bifocals. But typically it is when you're on medications in hospitals and things like that. So we are very cognizant, but just to that point, this is an old home that we've adapted. Nothing's going to be perfect for anybody. And you're never going to achieve perfection, not even in a senior living home. Somebody's not going to like something. So this is about showcasing all the different things that you can do and how you can do it. And sometimes we don't have all the options in every room. I do believe railings on stairs are excellent. We added a railing on the front of the house before the photos was taken or after the photo was taken. One of the other things we did is added mini splits. You can see it above the refrigerator, which is air conditioning. The house was not air conditioned. So we added air conditioning to the entire house, which was a huge undertaking, and an immense amount of Wi-Fi, because all of this tech requires a huge amount of bandwidth. And you can do everything you want to do, and then if you don't have the railroad tracks to put the train on, it doesn't matter.
Yep.
And quite often what the providers will tell you will work does not work. Matter of fact, I had professional guys, I put in a commercial system because it's 15,000 square feet between the carriage house and the house. And as soon as we opened, I had to come out and have them add 30% more.
Yep. Okay, Cliff, this is, you mentioned your Italian roots. He says, I'm trying to find your Italian espresso maker.
Yeah, well, honestly, I don't use an Italian espresso maker. I could go get it off the stove right here, but I use the little tiny pot that you put it in, and I make my coffee that way every morning. If you've seen
Great.
the little, I don't know if they're aluminum or what they are, but they're like a little tiny thing. The water goes in the bottom, you put the coffee in it, and it percolates up.
Yep. Oh, I love percolators too. Okay, Bruce says, you mentioned smart lighting. Are you controlling at the individual bulb level or in groups with the controls at the wall switch?
So that's an excellent question. And I'm going to go to another slide for that. Let me see if I can get to a bedroom.
Whoa, wow.
Yeah, we did put a speakeasy in here with the full spa. Um, let's see.
I love your, I guess it's kind of hard to call that a parking lot, but I guess that's what it could be.
It is. The city required us to have so many parking spots because the house was so large. And originally that would have never been the case. And so I was kind of very irritated by that. And so I found this lovely tile. It's like a cinder block that's cut out, and you actually have to compact and do a huge kind of sub floor to it, essentially. And then you can grow grass through it, so it doesn't look like a concrete
Hmm.
seat.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Okay, so wait 1 second. That's the carriage house. Apologize for flipping through these. Well, let me real quick go through some of these. So not only do we have the hot cold plunge, which is walking in safe, we also have a massage room, and that has the Flotex carpet in it as well. We have a ballroom with a 3-story pneumatic elevator that fits a wheelchair.
Hmm.
So one of the unique things about that is it does not require a pit. It is done like a bank tube or Willy Wonka, which is awesome. And
Okay. That's that there on the left.
yeah, and
Holy cow.
so it's fantastic because you can fit someone in with a wheelchair and their caregiver in with them, but you can also see all the way through all the floors, so you don't have to feel claustrophobic at all.
That is really neat. I've never seen that, and it's beautiful. And I tell you, some of these homes, the elevators in private homes, oftentimes scare me because they're so small. They're like it's a converted closet almost.
Yeah.
I bet you that that's a lot more comfortable and less intimidating to ride in.
It is. And it's one of people's favorite things, which I'm like, really? That's your favorite thing? Like, I have so many favorite things. So this is one of the bedroom suites. It's got an ensuite, well, 9 ensuites. So that means the fancy word for it has its own bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got this living room here. One of the partners was Pottery Barn West Elm and Williams Sonoma. They have a mission to try and help boomers and have safe furniture. So we consulted on a lot of different things. And then Hackney Furniture helped me do this custom bed in the back that was more for someone with memory issues. So on the smart lighting, I have individual controllers. That's one of the fantastic things is you can have a controller about this size. You can it has double stick tape on the back. I don't know if you can see that or not.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you can control the lights like that. So for anyone staying there, we've zoned them per room with the controllers. However, we have iPads where you can individually turn them on and off as well. And you can change the color temperature in some rooms. I didn't do color bulbs in every area, but we've kind of ganged them together to make it easier for folks to use. That's in the carriage house. Okay, so this is the music room. And this is right off of the dining room and right off of the main entrance. You're going to see another great big opening with pocket doors. We didn't do that. That was in the house, which is fantastic. So a couple things about this. Everybody says, oh, rugs, 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 tripping hazard, right? So this rug is by Shaw Carpet. They're a Berkshire Hathaway billion-dollar company. They did a lot of the flooring in the house. I consult with them. They have a zero edge rug. It's actually chamfered on the edge, and then there's padding in the center. So it doesn't have that huge bump, which is fantastic, and it helps it to be safe. The furniture in here is Qualu, which most folks only know from senior living. This is actually a polymer down below that is the only certified Clorox cleanable leg and material. So, when COVID happened, everybody was worried, and you can't use Clorox on the fabric, but that is a Krypton fabric, easily cleanable. But what I'm trying to show here is that great furniture with the proper seat height, the proper density, and the proper cleanability doesn't have to be ugly. This was designed by Dale Miller at Daring by Design out of Boca Raton. So this is one of the design collaborators. I put in the Yamaha piano, which is digital and acoustical. You can learn how to play piano. You can actually play the piano and record, but one of the neatest features, and it'll play your piano as well, is we've hooked it up to a TV and they can live stream concerts and it'll play. So if Elton John's playing, he's playing on the piano.
Wow.
It is one of the neatest things that I'm absolutely in love with.
That's great. Well, I've had a lot of people talk about technology and accessibility, but I've never heard anybody bring up zero edge rugs. So I really learned something important today, that is out there, because really the main thing that we talk about when we talk about rugs is get rid of them.
Yep.
They're tripping hazards. And I've had community members who said, well, what are you talking about? I mean, the rugs are sort of part of the character of my home or this room. And a zero edge rug, I imagine, with also proper adhesion underneath it, is not a tripping hazard.
It isn't. If somebody has drop foot, and they haven't gotten the proper shoes, or they don't have the FDA approved little device that goes on your knee that helps to, stimulate your nerves to help you. They can be. And just like anything else, if you have knee surgery or shoulder surgery, you might have to adapt your space while you're transitioning. This is not for everybody. And I think some folks take the TSA methodology, which I do not ascribe to. But what happens is somebody put a bomb in their shoe, and now we have to take off our shoes, which makes no sense to me. I always say, what happens if somebody puts a bra, bomb in the bra? Does that mean every woman's gonna have to take off her bra? Like, the mentality of it is, because there was a problem, let's not look at the fact that somebody was bombing and how we touched them before. So there's always an opportunity that anything could hurt you. I learned this 30 years ago when people were taking out fireplaces and taking out mirrors and doing all these things. And a caregiver said to me, they said, one of the most dangerous things that there is? And I'm like, no. And she said, right here. I've had a resident or someone get mad and angry and irritated and punch somebody else or hurt themselves. You can't take away everything. And that was her point, was that we can't bubble room this, and nor do we want to. We have to be thoughtful about it and do it to what we feel comfortable with.
And can you repeat the name of the upholstery fabric?
That's Krypton fabric.
Krypton, and it's like Krypton, like the kryptonite.
So with a C. With a C, and a lot of manufacturers actually carry Krypton fabric. There's also Teflon coated fabrics and Nanotex. So there are a couple different manufacturers. Your designer should be able to help you find that. This room was designed by David Ashen out of Dash Design out of Manhattan. So this seat here is from Heckman Furniture, and they provide a lot of senior living furniture. One of the things that you're going to notice is that the seat heights have the proper foam density. They have arms where you can get in and out easily. And then there's the proper height, typically not lower than 18. We like to have 19 to 20, sometimes 21 inches for a seat height to make it easier. This is another view of the kitchen and the hydroponic garden. And then
nice.
You can see on the island how we have the outlets up high. So you don't have to bend over.
Let's see. Back to the lights. Bruce had a follow-up question. With respect to the control of the lights, thermostat, fans, do you utilize any voice control like Alexa or Siri throughout the house?
So not in this house. I don't. Just because we've found that when there's a lot of people together talking, or it doesn't recognize your voice because it is an AI, it learns your voice, it can kind of screw up. And we've also encountered that people don't want to be listened to when they're staying in an Airbnb.
Yeah, I could see where, very good point. But I know from your previous talk, you are a fan of voice technology, but because this is a showcase home and people are staying there, I can see where that would be something that you might leave out of this demonstration
So
project.
we have, no, three Google Homes and an Alexa, but they're in kitchens or in the spa. We do have Sonoses for music throughout. This bedroom, some unique features here. And again, this is the Pottery Barn one, West Elm. So it's got a mid-century mod kind of design. I did the design on this. One of the unique things is you see this coffee table, that actually raises up to you. So it's perfect for working on your laptop or having a meal. It's like a sophisticated TV tray, and then there's storage inside of it. The other thing is the cabinets on both sides have electric that plug in, and it's at the proper height again. And then that carpet doesn't look like it's anything special, but that carpet is from Shaw, and underneath it, there's 5 suites that have this. It has Soul Care, which is a mesh that data mines where you're at and can call 911 or a caregiver if you've fallen. It can tell the difference between a fall and not a fall, which is fantastic. But one of the things I love about it is the information doesn't go to the cloud. It sits on the server in the house. It also doesn't tie to an individual, so your privacy is protected. I think one of the big fears is that Lisa Cini fell 3 times, and now the insurance company got that information, is going to kill my insurance policy. Or so it's not tied to a person, but it can be tied to an if this then that. So it could go ahead.
So the fall detection is in the floor. What was that product called?
It is called Shaw Soul Care, and if you all go to my website, everything is there. All the vendors, everything. You're going to notice then in off to the right hand side, you're going to see a bathroom that also has the fall detection. We put luxury vinyl tile that looked like Carrara marble, but it's not. And there's fall detection there as well in the bathroom. And then this tub here is a side entry tub. It's fantastic. It has jets to it. The jets spit out air instead of water, which is really important because you don't have water that's recirculating that might be yucky. And then the neatest thing about that tub, and again, this is on the website, is that it drains in about 3 seconds. So one of the reasons why people don't like the side entry tubs is it takes a long time to drain the water until they can get out. And they can get cold and it's a little uncomfortable. This drains in 3 seconds because it's got a whole well underneath it that it drains to, and then it goes out to normal plumbing. So fantastic technology there. So the yellow suite, the bathroom, and the gray suite that David Ashen did, those all have the technology. This bedroom that is to the left-hand side does not have the technology on the flooring. So one of the things that was important to us was to A/B test it and figure out if people felt comfortable with it. If you do everything in every room, you're never going to know what works and doesn't work.
I'm surprised that it took so long for a question like this to come in. Can I ask, Emily says, can I ask roughly how much it costs to remodel a home like this?
Well, you don't want to know.
Yeah, I can only imagine. You haven't shared with us any of the before pictures.
Yeah, I can. So the before, so we have 9 bathrooms. No, we have 11 bathrooms. 11 bathrooms. So first of all, when I moved into the house, and we lived there for 6 months, and we also have a documentary coming out on this very soon, and there were some like heebie-jeebies in it. So we had a ghost guy come in and clear the whole house, and that's one of the episodes of the documentary. I mean, we would have like gas company guys go out running. So all that's been cleared up. But there was only 1 working bathroom when I moved in. So I moved in, lived there with the family for 6 months, trying to figure everything out, what we wanted to do, and then started the project, moved out, and then I moved back in for about 3 months prior to opening up for Airbnb to make sure I was testing everything and everything was working properly. So just as an FYI on that. I would say, because the house being so historic, it costs a lot more than it should have. When the plumbing was done at this point, most houses, this is finished in 1914. Women didn't have the right to vote. It started in 1907. The Model T wasn't out until 1908. So to have electric and indoor plumbing and all that was pretty fancy. So how they did their plumbing was 13 inches of concrete with lead pipes.
Ooh.
So we had to chisel that out in every floor. So I don't have a good guide. I can't tell
Yeah.
you if you add some of these features, it's way going to be cheaper than senior living.
Yep.
So this was a bathroom that was added in the 40s, and we decided to keep the tub. I'm a big tub person. And I bought some products from Amazon that allow you to get in the tub and out of the tub safely. One of my good friends who's passed now, but Sean Stevenson, he's a world-renowned speaker. He had that bone disease that when you sneeze, you break bones. So he'd never walked, but I would go and stay with him. And it was interesting to me how he always adapted to the environment instead of saying it had to adapt to him. And I'd say, Sean, why don't you do this? And he's like, Lisa, I travel the world. You think I'm going to, stop doing what I love because everybody's got to make it ADA accessible? And I'm like, that's a really unique kind of mentality. So he showed me a lot of products that we also showcase that you can buy on Amazon. This is an IKEA sink that's super small just because I couldn't fit anything else. And I wanted people to be able to see and get in. A bidet toilet seat, this is Brondell, that just fits on the regular toilet, which is fantastic.
Oh, that's interesting.
This is a staircase. I know we talked about the stairs. One of the things that we did that I would highly recommend for you to do is that we did the carpet runner, but you're going to notice there's about 9 inches on either side that's empty. That allows you to place your full foot on wood and your full foot on carpet. Quite often, people will only leave about 2 to 3 inches close to the railing, and then your foot wobbles on the carpet / wood. So being able to, and I learned that 30 some years ago in Carrington when they had all the grand staircases in the senior living homes. We took this lovely stained glass pattern that was original and put it into the carpet and then put it into the custom light fixture. So again, this is another one of the bedrooms. This has all the smart lighting. This is Heckman. You can see the mini splits here. Not everywhere could we cover them up. This also has a smart floor. One of the things that we've added is a bench down at the end of the bed. The main entrance, you're going to see another 0 entry rug. There's the staircase with the dining room and then the reading room off to the side. This room is up on the 3rd floor and is, actually that's my daughter's artwork over on the right-hand side, and I blew it up and made a mural.
Wow, beautiful.
So this is carpet tile. This is a carpet tile that we put in senior living rooms. So it's very, very dense, very low pile, good acoustics, not a trip hazard. And if there's an accident, you could replace a tile without it being an issue. Smart lighting.
How are the carpet tiles the same size as a regular tile, or?
No, it's actually a plank, a linear plank.
Okay.
Yeah, which makes it look nice as well. The carriage house. So I have a 2-bedroom apartment that my niece lives in the carriage house, but we took the garage and actually put a bathroom in it, took one of the old 1940s kitchens. And then to the left-hand side, there's a Murphy's bed that you can't see in that photo, but I'll show you later. This bedroom was designed by Jacqueline Moser from Harkin Designs out of Chicago. She took more of a kind of, the design is a little bit more Hollywood glam would be the best way to say it. The rug, again, is a 0 edge rug from Shaw. The blinds, these are Roman shades. This is a big deal. They're room darkening. It's so important to ensure that we can, get our light not coming through the windows so we can get proper sleep. I mean, I think people understand that now. These chairs are by Qualu, remember, and the table. Remember I talked about being able to clean with Clorox? These can be cleaned with Clorox, yet they look like wood. That's that main staircase. This room was also designed by Harkin, and it's Shaw flooring. Folks absolutely love this room. Williams Sonoma Pottery Barn West Elm did the furniture. We have the room darkening blinds. We have the mini split. And then this has the smart flooring underneath it. And then you go into the bathroom that has the smart flooring as well. And then you're going to notice an ADA cabinet for anyone in a wheelchair being able to get up underneath that countertop. And then a quartz countertop that's underlit with LED, so it acts as a nightlight. Little bar area. One of the other things that I wanted to show is that you don't have to do super expensive stuff. This is IKEA. This room has the smart flooring in it. We raised the ceiling and we did some indirect lighting up here, which I have it on red right now, but you can change it to whatever color you want. So the carpet is more of a off-white, which a lot of times we do use in senior living. We've contrasted that with the black, and then we've raised the ceiling, add some architectural detailing, and then added the smart lighting throughout. This is in the basement again, and this is the gym. This flooring, although it looks like wood plank, is not wood. It's a rubberized athletic floor, as is the turf, and they're the same height, so there's no trip hazard. This piece of equipment over in the kind of in the center, underneath the word freedom, is called Smart Fit. And it actually is for dual tasking, not multitasking, because everybody always gets on me about that. But there's a ton of scientific studies that if you dual task, in other words, do brain work while you're doing physical therapy work, it increases cognition, increases balance. Basically, you stop being your brain has something to do, so you're not fearful. So you're able to actually do the therapy or do what you're trying to do.
Yeah, one of the companies that we've spotlighted, the Braining Center, that's what they're all about, is combining the brain activities with physical activities. So that's really cool.
I love it. And then we have the tonal, which anybody can get, but it has great resistance training and trainers. And then this is Lifetime Vibe, which, you know, the technology was developed by NASA. And I remember experiencing it at a spa in Italy years ago, probably 15 years ago. But what's unique about Lifetime Vibe is the handles on here. Quite often, these don't have the handles. You can either sit on this little stool that they give you, or you can take the stool off and stand. But it's that micro vibration that helps your whole muscle groups, not just isolated muscle groups. So this helps with incontinence, which I love, and it also helps with balance. One of the bedrooms that I did has a smart floor in it, and then we built out this custom wardrobe for more Alzheimer's dementia. Like if my grandmother was alive now, what would I do? Well, I'd have her shoes right here, a place to sit, a mirror. This is a piece of metal that I can say, hey, it's Tuesday, it's summer, you know, and your name is Gerline Lilly. And then we have the wardrobe that you can only show the clothes on one side if you want to, and then her clothes here. One of the unique things we did about the bed, and it's not in this picture, but underneath the bed are 4 dresser drawers. So, you know, you don't know where you're going to put your other seasonal clothing, and we can use under the bed to do that. And then we put an LED light in the door casing as a night light on a sensor in amber color as well. This room was designed by Dale Miller again. Samuelson did some of the furniture. Some of the unique things, this is the same flooring as you saw in the smart flooring in a different color, but it doesn't have the smart flooring. And so what we were showing was the no height difference. Molecule is the bed mattress, and it really does a fantastic job at keeping you cool. I don't know about any ladies out there, but at least I need to be kept cool. So that's the hot cold spa again from a different angle. This was done by Harkin Interiors. All of the bookcases in the fireplace were original. The beams in the ceiling original, the wood paneling original. Again, these are the zero edge rugs from Shaw. The furniture is from Samuelson, and they are this great company that brings design in with proper height. So this chair back by the fireplace, you can actually lift the seat out to clean out if somebody had an accident, which is fantastic. This on the bottom left-hand side is a patented walker holder.
Huh. Wow.
Very nice. Very nice.
Man, I've never seen one of those, but I know that probably a lot of our senior living providers would love to have that. What's the name of that product?
Samuelson is the manufacturer.
Okay.
And then over top of the fireplace is the frame TV. And in this image, you don't see it, but it can have artwork on it that rotates through. It can also be your TV. And then I have two little speakers here and a woofer. And you would not believe how theater oriented that is. And when it's not on and I have the artwork on, you would think it was just a piece of art. Another bedroom, this is by Jane Rohde with JSR. This is on the 3rd floor, little benches, smart lighting, fabric, and then the carpet tile. This is the music room again. This is that other room where we've got the desk behind, we've got that height adjustable coffee table, and then this allows you to plug items in high up. Dining room. Let's see. Okay, this is a great one. I wonder if, nope, that's about as big as it gets. So this is by Presslet, and this is in one of the showers. This rail system, we could put it at a different height, but there's a rail system on the back. There's a rail system on that sidewall. I can move the plumbing anywhere I want, and I can take off this seat if I want. So some unique features on that is that, you know, have you ever had like a seat in the shower because you're not steady enough to stand, but then your shower head is so far away and then it's hitting you right in the face. So this allows you to have it like right at your side, and the temperature controls right at your side, which is fantastic. And then they have accessories like these baskets for shampoo and that you can move around anywhere you want. So this whole thing can be slid anywhere you want it. And this chair can be taken on or off, or if I had this lower, I could have the chair on this side as well if I desired. So let's say I have friends coming over and I don't want them to know that I'm having trouble. I could take off the chair and put it in the closet and they would never know.
Yeah, and that is a real life.
Yeah, not that I want to be embarrassed about it, but you know, it is one of those things that people stop having folks over because they don't want to admit that they maybe need assistance or help.
Yep. No, it's one of the challenges of, you know, the stair glides too. You know, it's just
in the dining room. Here's the bedroom. We also call this the wedding room. I kept the radiator heating. I love it. It's one of my favorite things. So I don't know if anyone else likes radiator heating, but I love it. It's controlled by the thermostat, but it's a real nice heat.
Hey, folks, I just glanced at the clock, and I know that we're at an hour, but I just want to remind everybody that I'm recording this. So if you have to jump off, the recording will be at Pro Aging in a bit. But keep on going, Lisa.
So are there any questions so far that we
let's see. I think we've addressed them. A lot of things going on in chat, and you know, just thoughts and related to some. Barbara says the door surround night lights are really nice. For the most part, I mean, no, you get lots of great comments here. No specific questions. You're doing a great job of spotlighting this. And again, look, folks, I know that like the chances of anybody doing anything like this on this planet is next to none. You know, the fact that Lisa has done this and showcased some of these things in individual rooms and enable the public to come in and stay there and for us to just see it, it may trigger some ideas, whether you're thinking about your house or your loved one's house, or if you're in a senior living community and you don't go out there and get one of those Samuelson, the Catch by Samuelson, you're crazy. This is really cool.
That's what it's about. So this is when you come down into the basement, I've done another skylight. And then I have a sauna here, an infrared sauna off to the left-hand side, but you sit in it. So your head's exposed, which means you can work on your phone, you can read, you can do your laptop, but you also don't have to worry about like, am I going to get dizzy or claustrophobic?
Here's a good question from John is what do you recommend for floor mats? And I assume he's talking about in the bathroom. And I tell you what, I'm really eager to find a solution there because floor mats, no matter they've always been a tripping hazard for me in the bathroom.
Yeah, they are. With the rubber on the back, that's one of the most important things. And try to get ones that are less fluffy, which is hard because usually when they have the rubber on the back, they're super fluffy, right? But you want something that's not going to slide out from underneath you and not have too big of a height change. Essentially, you need to be really cognizant of when you're planting to get out of the shower or into the shower, you don't drag your feet. That's a big deal. A lot of folks just are lazy. At nighttime, I would only have the bath mats down when you're showering.
That's a good point.
Take them up. Underneath your pot, your toilet, put a squatty potty. We also have a full speakeasy because there was a speakeasy at one point. There's a little bit of the elevator. I want to show you one of the toilets, full ballroom. Let's see.
And just while you're navigating to that, Emily says the skylights are really cool. How do they work? Are they just big screens in the ceiling?
Yeah, it's just an image that has a light behind it. So super simple. You turn on the light, it's on. You can put it on a dimmer if you want to change it out. But yeah, okay. They do have ones that are screened, so it can change the sky, but it's super expensive, so I didn't do that. This is the countertop that's lit up, just to show you how that lights up, and as your night light. That's that bedroom again with the bathroom off. We did a pocket door to make it easy to get in and out. Outdoor, don't forget about the outdoor. You need to have safe outdoor. Let's see here. This is again outdoor. The ramp is right on the back side of that table. That's one of the bathrooms. Oh, this is a neat thing. This bathroom right here. So not only do we have the tub that goes down, but I designed this so that the doors open up and go back in. So that's fully ADA compliant, but it doesn't have to look that way all the time. So what we're trying to show is different options. This is the Murphy's bed. And the unique thing about it is you don't have to take anything off the shelf. It's right in the center.
Let's see, where is the Murphy bed?
Where it says on air.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, and all those things on the shelf will not fall off when you bring it down.
Spin it around and then the bed comes down. So I've already had somebody say, where can I buy that? JVA Artwork did a lot of custom artwork and did this custom wall covering. Again, there's the spa, there's the bed down so you can see it.
Ah, okay.
And it's that kind of bed, honestly, I can do it with my finger, bring it down, so it's not heavy. It's great if you've lost a guest room. You still want people to be able to have a place to stay. This goes up to the ballroom. We put some quotes there. Out to the patio area. All of the flooring, that's, what's it called? It's not brimstone, but it's a compacted stone. It doesn't have to, I did a study in Italy for several months and watched people walking. You can change materials and still make it safe. It doesn't all have to be concrete or one thing. You've just got to be able to be cognizant of making it safe. This is the custom bed. So there's drawers underneath here. And then these shelving units that I designed fold down so that if somebody needs help getting someone in and out of the bed, they can hold those down and help get them in and out of the bed, or if they want to put it down at night and put their drinks and their medications back in the little shelving units. This is a height adjustable sink. It is not electronic. This one is you put it to whatever height you are. So it's a lot less expensive. We do have height adjustable sinks that are power operated.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a great idea there. Yeah, and I
Yeah,
could see where
I
that could be more.
absolutely love that. Again, this is an IKEA kitchen, super easy to operate. Cheap.
Let's see. John was asking about the floor mats in the hallway that lead outside.
So what I do typically is I like to have that chamfered rubber that it goes from the mat and then it goes to a rubber transition strip all the way around. It's much safer and it sits really nice. That's a tough elevator.
You know, this is a good, I can tell by the questions, you know, and something that we haven't brought up is that if folks wanted to get your advice and guidance while they're working on their home or in a senior living community, do you offer that?
Oh, we most definitely do.
Okay, so I'll make sure to share Lisa's contact with everyone, and John, like some of your floor mat things, maybe she can brainstorm with you on those questions specifically.
So this toilet on the left-hand side is by Presslet, and that is actually height adjustable. It moves up or down, and it can take your weight while you're sitting on it.
Huh.
So quite often, we need to get on the toilet at a higher level than we need to be sitting at to properly not strain ourselves.
Wow, so you can move it up and down while you're sitting on it?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, I had no idea that that was available. And are those two buttons behind it? Are those the?
Those are just the flushes, like big flush, small flush.
Wow, that's nice too.
Yeah, remote control that goes to it. That's just the fitness, little areas. This is that cabinet that's ADA. This again is, we did Toto and Brondell bidets. So
yeah, I love all I mean, the technology and the things that you're showcasing are great, but I love all the creative artwork and design little features of this home. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Well, it was a team effort, and you know, it's just like us as we age. Like, how do we honor the past, but make us as relevant as possible and make our life as easy as possible? So,
hey, do you mind sharing some of the before shots?
Oh no, I'd love to.
If you've got easy access to them.
Yeah.
Oh, there you can see the adjustable aspect of that countertop right there.
Right.
Yeah.
So give me a second. Let me actually go into. Now you guys are seeing how poorly I type.
The behind the scenes here. Yeah.
I'm a designer. Okay, so this is our website, infiniteliving.org. You can also reach us at 617-701-7252. That's 617-701-7252. So if we go to the Werner house here, we've also got historic photos. I'm just going to show you if you're that type of person. We've got all the things we found in the house, like unbelievable amount of historical photos. You can also go to this 3D walkthrough. So we have the before and the after of the walkthrough.
Cool.
We'll see how this goes. Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes this doesn't work that well on.
So this is the basement. Remember the spa?
Mm-hmm.
This is the fitness room. Are you able to see?
Oh boy, yeah, you can see. I mean, this place was in ill repair when you acquired it.
Yeah. So, and then you just go up by floor.
Mm-hmm.
And
okay.
It'll take you.
Wow.
Let me go into the kitchen just a second, just to show you. Actually, let me do it this way. Okay, we'll go into the kitchen. So this is kind of the fun stuff, right? To see what the kitchen looked like beforehand.
And while we're waiting for that, Emily has a great question. Is when you were doing this remodeling, is there some technology that you were looking for or wanted to include that you found didn't exist?
Yeah, there's nobody that I could not find one provider that understood how to put everything together.
Okay.
I mean, it was a nightmare, to be honest. Like, I met with tons of people that said that they could do it, but
Hmm.
in reality, they weren't able to accomplish it. I ended up having to go to Best Buy to kind of hook up all the smart stuff, and then I had to use a commercial group to bring in the cabling, and then another group to bring in the phone systems. So it, it was a lot of, everybody talks about they do everything, but they don't.
Hmm.
And I even had one of, people that had like huge companies, and then they get in and they're like, well, we could do it if it was a senior living home. But from a home standpoint, there's just a huge break in that.
Yeah.
Are you able to
Um,
see the kitchen?
yeah, I was going to comment earlier that uh, again, especially on the scale of modern large homes, the kitchen is relatively small. Um,
So we have three kitchens. We have one on the ballroom. We have the kitchen that you saw, and then a servery kitchen right beside it. One
mhm.
of the things that's unique about that is that back in the day, kitchens were small.
Yeah, no, no. I mean, this is a large ensuite bathrooms and large kitchens is a modern amenity, not something that you see in even large historic homes.
Correct. So that's the outdoor porch. This was the gray room, staircase. We added carpet to the second floor staircase to help with noise.
Hmm. Yeah, I bet you that was pretty loud
Now
there.
we took the entire staircase apart and it only had one stringer up it. And this is that black and white bedroom, um, kitchen. So hopefully you're able to see it. That's the fitness. That's the,
Wow.
um,
Okay. Yeah, no, my main thing that I wanted to see and I wanted that our the audience to see is just this clearly you have done a service to the community by rehabbing this home. It's beautiful and you've definitely uh maintained its character and enhanced its character, but this is amazing, Lisa. I've really learned a lot, and I'm super impressed. And obviously, I mean, you got the support from a lot of people and manufacturers to make this a reality.
we did.
This would be a tremendous, I'm sure it was a tremendous personal expense, but without the partners, it would be, um,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, we did. I would say probably we had about 250,000 in donations from the vendors and that.
that's great.
And overall, we're about probably 3.5. But again, it's a 15,000 square foot property.
Yeah, no, this is
So
great.
it's not a tiny little thing. Uh,
No,
but more than what they financially donated, their talent and time and us kind of iron sharpens iron was just so good. We all learned something from the whole process.
yeah, I love it. And I really, I'm going to make sure to cut and paste as much as I can, give everybody your contact info for follow up. I could see where this could be a great destination for somebody, a small conference,
Yes,
and probably, I could see you connecting with some of the larger trade associations to host their conferences in the town, and then have a reception there where it could showcase
exactly. Yeah,
that.
I
Yeah.
mean, we've had an 80-person wedding. We've had some receptions. We just had a bachelor party that they, love. We've had yoga retreats, men's retreats. The thing about it is that if it brings multiple generations together and it connects people and helps
Yeah.
people to move from fear to freedom, that's what it's about.
Hmm. No, this is great. Well, thank you so much, and I thank our audience again for some great questions and insights. Yeah, to summarize here, Barbara says a lot of thought went into this project. Thanks, Lisa, for sharing it with us. And we will have this recording up later this afternoon. And keep on hard chart. You are such a creative inspiration with all the different things that you're doing. I just keep it up because it's really what this segment needs is a thought leader like you.
And just so you know too, this is on Audible now, if you're the type of person that prefers that. And all of the majority of the tech is in here.
Okay,
So
great.
that's another thing.
Then that's Lisa's book boom. So, anyways, this is great. All right, folks, have a great rest of the day. And thanks again, Lisa.
Thank you.